We are well on our way to a
Cool,
podcast.
we're done.
Well, we have a studio here.
Yeah.
Warren, this looks like it was a paint booth or something. In
This was a hazardous materials storage room.
Oh, it continues.
New headquarters.
All right.
Yeah.
They store old paint and lead shavings. and asbestos.
Well, the
smoothies.
business was called Leadworks, Milwaukee Leadworks.
So this giant building, the most toxic materials were reduced to this square footage.
So as the IQ drops as the show goes on,
Yeah.
folks,
Yeah.
it's not just us.
All right, so we have, and let's just, before we even get started, let's lay to rest all of the past of what we've been doing, because we've had many, I don't know, started and failed attempts to do this. Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
And we would do one, and then the mics weren't on, or we would do one, and then the conversation wasn't very good.
Mm-hmm. We don't even know that that's not going to happen for this one.
And then we won't not do
It's
this.
confirmed.
Can we put the
I
consistency
think we have somebody better at the controls than me.
Yes. So, and we had a thing called Brap Yap, and it was very inconsistent.
Is this not what we're calling it anymore?
No.
What
It's
is it
now
called
the
now?
Mama Tried Flat Friday podcast.
Gotcha.
Not like that's not
I think
enough
I,
of a
heard, I think I
mouthful.
remember that conversation. Sorry.
Yeah, we're
I think we're more on brand, right?
more on brand.
Yeah.
I thought you were like, it's the more on brand.
Well, that too.
Like that, Brap Yap is like for the serious thinking, but this is the moron brand
Yeah.
of the podcast.
Okay.
All right. Well, an overview of an agenda that I wanted to talk about is my idea. And it's not what I want to talk about. This is what I think is fair, and that is starting with our lives and trying to get caught up from our last Brap Yap, but going backwards. So we have an event coming up this weekend,
Yep.
and we'll get into it in a second.
The Cedar Lake AFT race.
Yep. But Cedar Lake. I think that we can knock this out in a little bit, and then let's talk a little bit about Sturgis.
Yeah.
And get caught up. And I want to say that we haven't had a meeting in a long time. We haven't had a face-to-face meeting about anything
No.
In a long time. So this is pretty raw. And I've certainly never talked to you guys about Sturgis in a long
We've
time.
had quite a bit of FaceTime, but meetings between the three of us haven't been a thing.
No.
Sure. What have we done? Just pausing this for a second. We have had FaceTimes. We
Traveled to Indonesia,
Okay.
Malaysia,
Well, yeah.
went to
No,
Sturgis.
like post Sturgis.
post Sturgis.
Post Sturgis is nothing. Yeah.
We had just had a busy summer. We did Brazil, then we did Indonesia, then we did Sturgis, and now we're hanging out doing this podcast.
And I really feel like
It's really only a month. It hasn't been that long, right? A month and a week.
Yeah. And just sitting at this table with this microphone and then the lights on was the first time that I really ever thought about Sturgis, by the way. Like actually just kind of, I was able to talk to it with people that I shared an experience with, as opposed to someone that, sues you from accounting at your job, or they're like, how's Sturgis? And you only have about 10 seconds to fill everything we did into 3-word sentence.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so that's a basic outline. And I hate to maybe start, we got a good bit going, and I hate to kind of kill it, which is talk a little bit about Cedar Lake. And I don't want to bring morale down.
No, that's not at all. And
It should bring it up, man. That's a big opportunity for us.
yeah, it's super cool that it's really cool that it's happening.
Yeah, it's great that they reached out, and that's a plus right there, and hopefully we can work together and make something of it and create a relationship that lasts.
Yeah, we've been wanting to, right? Like get together to do something with them, or co-promote a race, or just do something that's not just us promoting something. So it's nice to be partnering with someone on an event. So
Yeah, and on a national level, it's it's NASCAR level, right?
yeah, and plus we're such huge fans of AFT and huge fans of what they do, and so many of the riders, and there's so many guys from around here that are doing great and have come up through the ranks of the AFT. Plus Cameron Smith, who we sponsor, who we love, and he's been doing great this year.
Yeah.
And so it's good, just kind of, and we follow AFT. We go to AFT events. So it's pretty great to just be involved with them on a
Right.
granular level.
I did a live stream the other day, and I was saying how we're very much on the ends of the spectrum, but we've never or been contentious,
No.
right? That we both are united in a love of the racing. We just have a little bit more of the low brow, and they are the high brow, the exclusive, where they've weeded out and distilled the best flat trackers in the world, bold statement, and you get to see that on the fastest, best machines. We searched old barns and bar rooms for the hooligan crowd, but they're all there and they love it, and everybody understands the seriousness and the gravity of being at a national, which is the first thing I want to say. This is a Wisconsin national, and that's why I would like Wisconsin to show up and show that we can.
Yeah. Well, what are we doing there? Explain to the audience what we're doing there.
Oh yeah, so good point. There's no inside stories. We are going to have a hooligan class at the National at Cedar Lake. Will this come out in time for that? Will people be listening to this? Cedar Lake Speedway, which is in the town of New Richmond, about 45 minutes from downtown St. Paul, hour and 15 from downtown Minneapolis. If you live in the Twin Cities.
I thought it was closer. I'd never been, but I thought it was closer in my
Cities.
mind's eye. No.
That's right.
All right.
Well, how far is it? You ever lived in Minneapolis? I was trying to make a Minneapolis joke.
My brother Todd lives there.
You ever spend some time there?
In Minneapolis, yeah.
You ever try to buy beer on a Sunday?
No.
No?
No.
Did you know you can't buy beer on Sunday?
Maybe I did know that. I think, can't you only buy beer in Wisconsin until 5 o'clock
Till 9
on
o'clock.
Sunday?
Oh, no, 9 o'clock on Sunday.
Did it used to be 5 o'clock?
Maybe in the 60s when you grew up. But I don't know about now.
See, I'm not the only one that talks about old jokes.
Holy fuck.
No, so why I say that is because I've been in Minneapolis. Hey, let's get some beer. And then you're looking in the liquor store. You're like, what the hell? The nearest liquor store is Hudson, where we are staying.
Oh, okay.
That's an hour, a 45-minute drive.
Cross the river.
Across
Across the
river.
river
Yeah.
from downtown Minneapolis.
I've been to Hudson.
And that's where, close to that area is where the race is. You've been to Hudson because
Yeah.
you were looking for beer after partying on a Sunday in Minneapolis.
Oh, my brother actually lived in Hudson for a while, but yeah.
All right, we'll
Yeah,
bring
cool
it
little town.
bringing it full
Full
circle.
circle.
Yes. So we
Grain Belt.
would like to. They offered us a hooligan class. We would like people to come check out the hooligan class. It gives us a stage to tell everybody, like, hey, let's show the world that Wisconsin's ready for a national. Bold statement tour. We're coming.
Yeah. So it's
just
another support class like the Royal Enfield.
Yes. And I'm calling out Tour, so to speak, in a little tongue in cheek. That man, they really crushed it out there.
Yeah, tour from one show. You mean?
Tour
Yeah,
from
they
one
had
show.
their had their national. They
At Castle Rock.
Castle Rock. So they recreated or rejuvenated the history that used to be there. It used to be a giant event. They did a wonderful job, and AFT was coming down off a high and reached out to us because they had such a positive experience with Tour
Yes.
and his team. So the next potential partnership in their mind's eye was us, which is pretty awesome.
Yep. So I'm just like throwing down hey, we're if Tour's here, maybe he would think that's funny. Maybe just him. But
So all we got to do is like not fuck it up.
we got to not fuck this up. That's why I'm pleading on Wisconsin to come to this national.
Yeah.
event. Yep.
Come support us
And-
and support AFT.
And so what are we going to do? So I highlighted that a little bit here of how I envision it. And by the way, this is kind of a meeting. So you tell me where I'm wrong. We have a hooligan class that will be there. We have a merch booth. And what I would like to, when I say merch booth, I'd like that to be a mini. You know how Mama Tried has the merch booth traditionally, and just by happenstance, the DJ booth is right there? Mm-hmm. I'd like that. When you say merch booth, it means we're cutting out the rave stage and putting it on
That vibe.
that vibe on the road. So we're going to have, Kevin, our DJ, will be with us, DJing our merch booth. And hopefully that vibe lets your hair down and you can have a little bit of fun and party. Because as we were talking earlier, smiling and partying at many times it can be construed as defiance. Mm-hmm. Anyway, we're going to have a merch booth there, hooligans there. We're going to be supporting Cameron Smith. Mm-hmm. We're going to have some merch there for Cameron Smith.
Yeah, we have the shirts coming.
I think that's huge for this crowd. I know when I buy a shirt, I'm more likely to buy that shirt because that shirt is sharing with me in that day of experience.
Yeah.
So hopefully we can kill it for Cameron and he can earn some money.
Yep. Absolutely.
There's going to be 2 main events. Do you know about this?
For the
Explain
for
that.
AFT.
I heard about that. Yeah, explain that.
Because
I had questions about that.
What I understand is that it's the seating from the Springfield Mile. So when the national anthem, a main comes out, it's the main from the Springfield Mile. Then there's heats, semis, and then another main.
Okay.
So there's a lot of gravity if you're into points, but you get to see Jeffrey Carver race, or you get to see Jared
Is Jeff going to be there?
Meese.
Yeah, he is.
Oh, red.
Yep.
Cool.
So who? I can't remember the Wisconsin pros now. At the highest level, I don't think there are any pros at the Twins level.
Mischler?
Yeah, Mischler.
Jesse Janisch.
Oh, yeah,
so Jesse
Janisch.
Janisch, Schwarzenbacher, and Mischler are all Beavers. They're all from the Beaver.
Yeah.
Aren't they all cousins?
That's a good question, but I don't know. I mean, I know that they all kind of grew up together and they're kind of the same generation.
And then another pro that you guys may or may not know, he's in the singles class. He's from that area, Amory, Wisconsin. Jacob Walters.
Okay.
Cool.
Watch for him, 176. I don't know if he made a main yet this year, 76.
What is the history of nationals in Wisconsin? Is this not a thing? Do they not go to Cedar Lake a lot, or?
No, this is the first time it's.
Yeah, they've never been to Cedar Lake.
Do they do a national in Wisconsin?
They haven't. Now I consulted Bert Sumner. I don't remember the statistics, but 2003 they had one at Hills Corner Speedway for the 100th.
Oh, sure.
That was
they
the
did
last
an
one?
actual national there.
Yeah.
Oh, no kid.
Yep.
I was at that
and
one.
I
It was
remember
super
there
fun.
was a hooligan support class, if you remember that. It wasn't called hooligan at that time, but it was called.
Was it
883 class.
Yeah.
Or was it like Super Twins? Was that when they were racing like Hayabusas and stuff? And they had like called it Super Twin, or what did they call it? They were racing like
I don't
1100 cc twins. It was like Hayabusa based stuff.
I don't remember. I have a picture from it because I thought it was so neat that they were lined up on the line. It was my first time seeing a flat track race, 2003. Because I had raced at Hills Corner Speedway, so I had heard about it, and I knew that you were into it. And remember, I don't remember this, we bought the top row of the bleachers. And I happened to get there early, and had I not gotten there early, we would have lost that top row.
Right.
Because we needed sandbags
Cheek to jowl.
to keep people off of our seats.
Right. Didn't Joe Kopp win?
I remember Joe Kopp was number 100 that year, and his motor blew going into turn 3. You remember this?
Okay, no.
On the last lap. And he coasted by the finish line, looking like how I walk.
Fuck. That was a good time. That was the Harley 105th.
That was 100th.
Holy shit. God damn. Time passed.
So there isn't a lot of nationals, Warren. That's why it's kind of a big deal.
Cool.
And this got added to the schedule kind of late, right?
No, I think
has it been on the schedule all summer?
On the schedule, and everybody knew this was going to be a big deal.
Okay.
And as a matter of fact, the Michelers, we were just mentioning, they rented a stock car track in Beaver Dam, expecting a big pro event, but then the AFT announced a practice.
Okay.
On Friday, and kind of killed that vibe. But there was some energy going, and I don't know. I've never promoted a national series, but we've rented some arenas, and we know how hard it is to just do things and
to promote
and get things going and
get butts in seats, get riders there,
and like why they don't do DeCoin, even though it's a beautiful track, but it's hard to bring fans there, and I'm sure they lose money, for example. Anyway, my original point here was the list of why you'd want to go there. Here's my final point, my final selling point. If I'm trying to plead to ticket buyers to come support this, and that would be, I'm planning on getting weird on Saturday night. What do you guys think
How
about
weird?
that?
I hear you talk about getting weird all the time. I haven't seen it yet.
Okay, well, hold on here now.
Is that a challenge?
That is a challenge.
Okay, now, I don't say me, I mean we.
No, you said I'm.
When I say
that's the same as me.
When I say we, I mean that we will go there and influence people to get weird.
And you're not included.
Well, then if I'm weird, then who's running the weird show?
Backpedal, backpedal, backpedal.
All we got to do is get through the day and then get through the night.
Let's get through the day. I don't want to burn a bridge, and I had a long philosophical discussion with Kevin about how I would want the music to be. And to me, I don't mean to be graphic or gross, but it's like kind of a one-night stand or a sexual experience. I think DJing or any kind of art is a little bit like making love, if you will. You don't just ram it in there and get to do what you want to do. There's another person receiving what you're doing on the other side.
Reciprocal.
So let's not start out with 99 Problems and a Bitch Ain't One as our first opening song of DJing this time.
This time.
It's happened twice now.
Okay.
It's just not the best.
It's a good song.
I mean, maybe Johnny Cash could be a good, maybe like a kiss on the ear.
Yeah. Barry White.
Yeah, you don't just ram it in there like raw dog it. You know what I mean?
You're making me uncomfortable.
Some Lou
Okay.
Rawls. Some Journey.
Yeah, a little journey.
Set the mood. Light some candles. Right?
Yes.
Put some flower petals in the bathtub.
Yes. So this is what I mean about getting weird. Anyway, in conclusion, I would like to have a little bit of a party by our merch booth. And here's why we have an opportunity to get weird there. Now, we could say this in the past, and I don't know about the location of any other national, but this is literally, it's literally in the middle of nowhere. There will be no curfew or muffler law. It's loud. There's nothing within walking distance. There's nothing within 2 miles.
Okay.
Maybe a farm,
Right.
but this is a self-inclusive entity space. And if you wanted to get a hotel, or if you're thinking about joining us, I don't think you can find a hotel within an hour. And so camping is really your only option. So I say let's just add a little bit of fuel to that camping fire.
Oh, nice.
And
Camping.
get a little weird
Okay.
there. Like maybe I don't want to say some things because I don't want to. I just always have a couple things that I like to pull out.
Don't give up all your secrets.
And they're not that big. They're not that big. Like we light fires sometimes when
Yeah.
people do jumping.
Yeah.
And it's actually pretty wild. You know, I mean, if I can pause this for a second, we haven't had a chance to talk about this. Since Sturgis, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't even remember. Since we've gotten back from Sturgis, we did that event at Iron Horse. Was that after Sturgis or before?
I don't remember.
Just the
remember.
same. We did a mini bike race in front of the Iron Horse Hotel.
I think it was before. It was in July.
Before.
It was right before we left.
Okay. We lined the track with very nice baggers. And that was the course. That was the hay bales. You know, probably $3.4 million worth of hay bales. And we lit a fire, and you had to jump it. Do you remember this?
Yes.
Now, on paper, that seems like it's kind of mild. It's not that big of a deal. But when you watch the GoPro videos, or you've seen some
No, I haven't
photos,
seen the videos.
Like, wow,
Some wobbly.
it could have gone.
Yeah,
it could have
sideways.
Gone sideways. So I would like to get a little, maybe sparklers is what that's a little weird.
Not a brick of firecrackers set off at one time.
No,
Okay.
just for some
Gotcha.
pops.
Let's go through some basics of the event.
Okay, I have some more basics.
Let's do the who, what, where, when.
Yes, good call. Good job. Cedar Lake this Saturday.
Cedar Lake, Wisconsin.
I'm sorry. No, let's start over. Take 2. Cedar Lake Speedway is in New Richmond, Wisconsin.
Okay.
So Cedar Lake Speedway is the business name. New Richmond is the town.
Okay. And that's on Saturday,
Yes.
September 24th.
Fourth. Doors for public at 3. Bikes on the track at 3. Load in for hooligans. I want them there by 9, no later than 9. And then there's, like I said, that schedule, the 2 mains.
The schedule is on the AFT website.
Yeah, I don't think the race starts till
You can look
3.
on Instagram.
And you can criticize AFT. People, I follow the banter, but AFT does a great job of keeping you in the know of their schedule. I mean, imagine if I went to the circus and I knew when the juggling dude was going to come out. Wouldn't that be great to know that? Or I knew what song the concert Motley Crue was going to play in the song. That's how specific AFT keeps you up to date.
Which is great.
So you can get that on the AFT website.
Yep.
You can also buy tickets in advance for $25. I just bought a bunch of tickets. Very minimal fees, a couple dollars per ticket.
There's a deadline for the discount.
You got to
right?
do it by Friday night. You got to buy them online. Day of show, I'm going to guess tickets will go up to
$40.
I'm just guessing.
That's what they were at Rapid City.
Okay, so $40 day of.
Yeah.
So buy them in advance at $25.
Great show. They put on a great show.
It's going to be a great show. Flat Out Friday, Mama Tried, AFT in the North.
Royal Enfield.
Royal Enfield and the Build Train Race women.
Yep. Put on a great show.
But it's just, again, a great way to empower women to get involved with racing.
Mm-hmm.
Giving them motorcycles, making them make them, and then putting them out on tour.
Build them, yeah. It's a great show. I really loved it in Rapid City. There was some Wisconsin people showing up there too. Zaria Martins did great there.
Zaria Martins never not had a podium.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Since she's been in the series.
Hell yeah. Nice job,
let me go with a little bit of who, what, where, when, and why, just real quick. Also, I'm talking specifically to the hooligans because they give me a lot of get a lot of questions, and I said, wait till this comes out very shortly. And so, and maybe you guys know this or not, but AFT has an event, and then we have our event inside of their event. So we have our own insurance.
Okay.
And our event is an AMA event. So all of the rules of AMA apply to us. When you come through inspection, you'll be coming through to me. I will check your rules to make sure you and your motorcycle are AMA compliant. So I don't have a tire rule. We have to check the GoPro, the AMA GoPro rule. Do you know what it is?
There's a rule about that?
There's no GoPros on helmets.
Huh.
And I think AFT does not allow GoPros on motorcycles. Whether it's safety or content grab, content control.
Okay.
You know.
Good to know.
Anyway, we'll figure this out. But there's no tire rule. I don't know about the GoPro rule, and we are under AMA rules. So,
Can Flat Out Friday have a mandatory GoPro camera rule?
and we collect their
Or they just gets out in the world, yeah.
and then we collect their data. And we have a tons of content. Not a bad idea.
Put that down on this sheet right
But
There
now.
should be a notepad on this table.
Yeah, right now.
Well, I have one right here.
Not your notepad.
Yeah, look at this. Who can read this?
I you know why I write it sloppy? This is true story. Because I feel it's like it's in code. Like I want to write in lemon juice.
So if somebody finds your
So if someone
notebook.
finds it, you're like,
What was that?
yeah. I don't really know
Is
what
that
it
his-
means.
Do you have that?
Is that his-
Do you have that many secrets?
I guess I'm embarrassed the way my brain goes.
So they wouldn't be able to tell if it's your like laptop password or your grocery list?
Yeah, I need to be more assertive with this because there's some good ideas here. I'm telling you, this is a
Some gold.
$1 million notebook.
There's some gold in there.
It's just that I leave this at the writers' meeting and someone's sledding on Saturday. That's a great business model, and they follow our thing like Back to the Future when he has the betting book. Anyway. Here's one thing. I don't know if you guys know this or not. Here's one thing I wanted to make clear and get your input on this because I think this involves all of us. We only announced 16 riders. Warren, as our witness, AFT said get a bunch of riders, right?
Yeah,
And we were like, and then so you sure? And you're like, yeah. So I got like 25 riders, and then like no, it's 16. So I tried to be fair in who I actually let in. I tried to go Minnesota first. I tried to go people that I thought were talented enough to have the speeds that put on a good show. I don't want a great disparity in talent. I want it tight. And I think we got that. But here's what comes out when people complain. Has anybody complained to you?
I haven't heard anything.
I think you also take complaints better. Scott, how do you take complaints?
I don't know.
I haven't heard a complaint.
I block and delete.
I'm very sensitive to complaints. But I got quite a few of them.
Well, we're all sensitive to complaints.
Yeah, and like, this is bullshit. What the fuck? These are quotes. My rider didn't get in. My son didn't get in, or I didn't get in. By the way, you can decipher the ridiculousness of those statements right there. If you're emailing for your son, but we're not going to say any names. But in conclusion, I think that people think, Warren and Scott, that we have like an office. Like we have a desk.
We got a war room.
We do
And
have
and a receptionist.
This toxic space. This is the closest thing I've had at a desk sitting with you guys for 5 weeks. But I think people have this misnomer that I have a secretary. Like I have a corner office downtown, and I wear a sweater with a thing, and I have a little putt golf thing.
All the ones
Corner.
spits it back.
Yeah, and then you call me on the phone, Jeremy, line 1, and I sit down, I put my feet on the desk.
The receptionist says, like, hey, there's a
AFT
call.
called. They want hooligans at your race. All right, hang on a second. And I hang up. Gertrude,
Put you on hold.
get me the hooligan file. And she comes in with the hooligans. And then I'm like, Scott Warren, we're on a group call. What do you think of this group of hooligans? And we carefully, meticulously picked the 16 hooligans.
Spending 4 or 5 hours setting up for sandwiches
Is that how it
and
went
coffees.
down? Is that how our decisions go down?
No.
That's not how it works.
No, how does it work?
You're in line at Pick and Save, and you're just like, oh, I got 5 minutes. I'm going to pick the hooligan lineup.
Yes. Yes. And then you're like, by the way, Mr. Lineup person, do you have any friends? Because I'm going to be checking out in a couple minutes. And I got to fill this because AFT needs to know yesterday.
Just winging it.
Just winging it.
We're all winging it. Everyone's winging it.
Well, yeah, that's a philosophical statement. Everybody's winging it. We're all just surviving. And texts and information is so immediate. Jeremy gets 16 hooligans. The assumption is, by 8 o'clock, right? I mean, everything is, and I guess just everything we do is that way. I'm not criticizing us. We just have our own lives that.
Well, and there's not like, it's not like there's a channel for getting in touch. There's Instagram, there's Facebook Messenger, there's, right, how many different, email, text messages, phone calls. It's like everyone's just, you're constantly just like toggling between, which everyone does, but it's hard to keep track of all this stuff.
Sure. And
So what was the process for choosing?
well, I basically started with the hooligans that I respect, and I asked them their thoughts. So starting with Dave Kilkenny and Terry Vestal, Lowell, from Minneapolis, the guy that had won our event, and asked them what they thought.
Nice.
And then went outward from there.
Start to make a list.
Mm-hmm. I remember right away that Josh McDonald is married to Alex. She's in the program, the Build Train.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yep,
BTR Royal Enfield.
I wanted to reward him for being with us in Sturgis. So I called him right away.
That was cool that he came out.
He's good friends with Scott Jones. Scott Jones has a lot of history with us. Hey, can he just? I called Scott. Hey, Josh has room in their truck. Would you be willing to come? And also, I thought I said this in the podcast earlier. I thought that hooligan was dead when we only had 30 show up in Sturgis. I thought Flat Out Friday had run was not cool anymore. Or hooligans wasn't cool. People just didn't care about that. It didn't resonate anymore. And I'm ultimately okay with that. But could we get 16 hooligans to show up for free after we just offered them $10,000? Now, can you come to Minneapolis for free? I thought, no way. People aren't going to want to do this for free. So I'm humbled, or excitedly humbled. Actually, humbled's not the word. I'm the opposite of humbled. I'm what? We're stoked.
We're stoked. That's the word that I feel like I overuse that word all the time. But
I'm not humbled. I'm
Pleasantly surprised.
pleasantly surprised. There's a better word for it, but
That's 2 words.
I'm surprised that this many hooligans want to be in our event. Okay, that's the Cedar Lake, the National this week. I think we talked enough about it. I think it's understood. Okay, so I'm just going to set you up for alley-oops and you slam dunk them.
All right, let's do it.
Sturgis
2022. We went to Sturgis, and Scott and I drove together. Warren, how did you get there?
I rode there with your kid and Polenta from Brazil. It's fantastic.
Give me more about Fantastic. It took you 6 days.
Oh, hell. No, it didn't take us 6 days. It was 3 days, maybe 3.5. Your son had never been on the street on a motorcycle, period. And I don't know. I mean, I've hung out with Polenta, but I don't know Polenta. So I know both of them now. And I thought it was a good mix, and we had a great time. We took the slow road and did it right. No highways, and saw the country. It was great.
Some highlights?
Man, I think just seeing your kid squirm when he felt like he wanted to take control and do things, and he just kind of had to sit back and and just fall in the line.
Because he didn't really know what was up.
He had
right?
no idea where he was.
Because he'd never ridden a street bike before. He'd never ridden a big touring bike before. He'd never been on a road trip before. He'd never led a trip before.
On the flip side of that, I also really enjoyed him on the road in the way that he responded, in the way that he fell right in line. He almost, it's like he had done it before. You know how you go somewhere and you're not sure how these people are going to ride together, and I told him how it works, and he was right there. So I knew where he was, and it was great.
But you said you like putting him in line. He was like, all right, it's time for bed.
No, I could see. I didn't have to say a word to him, but I could see him getting antsy to like make decisions, or he wanted to do this and wanted to do that, and I wouldn't acknowledge.
Like he wanted to pull off.
He'd like blast up to the front, like, and just be like, let's go this way, and you're just like,
just little stuff like that. He'd start talking about going places and doing things, and okay, cool. And then we just, I never really acknowledged it. I made him be uncomfortable in his own right, and then settle in and like experience. Like if I would have given him the opportunity to like lead us and tell us where we're going, and he's not going to experience the road like I wanted him to see it.
So you wanted to bust on the highway?
No, to be honest, we never even got down that far. I wouldn't let it happen. I wanted him to just settle back.
And not make a plan.
Not make a plan. Just follow me and enjoy it.
Yeah, but you understand that that's a byproduct of me.
Yeah.
Well, that's enough about I guess my son on that. Yeah. What did you learn about polenta?
Polenta doesn't stop. If you want to have a good time and you want somebody there to push the whole time, polenta's the guy.
He carries the flag.
He carries the flag, and he's very positive. Always has a good time, and always he just wants to keep going. He doesn't stop.
So we got to, and then Scott and I had our own thing. We drove there, pretty nondescript drive.
Yeah, drove the van, pulled the trailer, brought a bunch of bikes out, brought a bunch of stuff out. Got there early, but I don't remember. I mean, we didn't end up we were gonna get there early so we could go do stuff, but we didn't really end up being able to do that.
I think being there was a vapor lock, so to speak. Just being there and realizing how hard Sturgis is to really maneuver, or especially we had the numbers we had of people. It kind of stifled.
I think the hardest part was the people.
Yeah.
And nothing against the people, but it was just a lot, right? No, stacked on top of what we had to do prior, but we needed those people in order to do all the events that we had. So it was catch-22.
Yeah,
sure.
But managing the people was a whole another job.
Yeah.
A whole extra job.
Yeah, I remember one time we were going to Sasha's, and I remember getting to the campfire late, so to speak. We were all going to meet and go to Sasha's, and everybody had kind of a panic in their eye. How are we going to get there? And it was a logistical. To go the 11 miles to Sturgis to Sasha's was hard to. And I kind of snapped. Maybe I'm apologizing a little bit, but you guys need to find your own way there. I'll meet you there.
Yeah.
How are you getting there? I don't know, but I will meet you there.
Yeah.
So then, Warren, when did we get in there? What time did we? Because we got there.
We were there probably.
We arrived in Sturgis at the exact same time.
Yeah, we did. We were within 30 minutes of each other, and I think Sturgis kind of started on Friday, so I believe we were there on Tuesday. It's probably 3 days early.
Sturgis is an experience because it was my first time ever being there. I'd never been before. Mm-hmm. And when people ask me, how was your summer? And I was like, I went to three different countries this year. I went to Brazil, I went to Indonesia, and I went to South Dakota. And it was like a very, very interesting place to try to get the vibe of and try to figure out the nomenclature and just like how it rolls. Yeah, now I do. I mean, you guys explained it to me 6 ways to Sunday. All the years before that, you've been doing stuff there, you've been going there, but you can't explain it to someone until you go there.
Were we wrong in
experience it? No, it was absolutely unexplainable. It's very two-dimensional in a lot of ways, but a lot of ways it's mysterious and it's like an apparition that you can just never really get your hands around, even though it's like you kind of understand exactly what's going to be happening all the time. Because it's, like I said, it's kind of a two-dimensional crowd that's there, but it's constantly moving and shifting so fast. There's so much going on. There's so many events happening, and it's hot.
It's
right?
stifling.
It's basically the desert, and it's fucking hot, and everyone's partying from morning until night. There's never not a time when there's a generator running, a motorcycle running.
Yeah, it's nonstop.
Or there's a rock and roll band playing nearby. It's just or you're in a car, or you're riding somewhere, or you're watching a race.
If stimulation is not your thing,
Or you're walking.
stay
Yeah,
away.
it's like it's enough stimulation for. I mean, if you're there for 2 days, you probably drive out of there going like, holy shit. We were there for almost 10 days.
A month and a half.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you. Let me knock these out. Let me do rapid fire with you, Warren, real quick. What's the philosophy? Why were we there in Sturgis? I mean, I have my own. I bet you Scott has one that's slightly different, but I'm assuming it's basically the same.
Yeah, I mean, we're there to, maybe kind of grab a little bit of, or participate in changing the guard a little bit. There's younger generation coming up that we involve ourselves with, and we have the opportunity to maybe change some of the stereotypes that you pass on, or you hear about, or you participate in when it comes to Sturgis. I've always said that Sturgis is what you make of it. You could be on Mars, but if you're with the right people, it doesn't matter where you're at. And
Sure.
if you like motorcycles and you like riding, Sturgis is kind of unparalleled. I mean, the riding and the roads around there are unbelievable.
The riding's epic.
And you can get everything, mountains to flats to, weird geographical formations and waterfalls and water. It's wild. It's a cool place. But yeah, I think we have a brand that, is I think big enough and popular enough to make a little bit of a dent in Sturgis, and we have an opportunity to do some business out there, and why not try it? I think if we do it right, we can have a lot of fun, and we can have a little country within a country, as Scott put it, right? Like, I think
A little fiefdom within a country.
Yeah, we don't have to.
Within a state.
If we do it right, we don't have to participate with anybody
No.
that we don't want to. We can create our own.
No, that was the
story.
cool thing is I feel like just us running a flag up a pole, and it did attract, right? Some people that are like, they like what we're doing, and people kind of came out of the woodwork, and not a ton of people, but the kind of people that we like to hang out with. And we really had a great time. The people that came to the races that we put on, came to the shows that we put on, it was a great time.
Yeah.
A really great vibe. I really didn't know what to expect on that front, like what we were going to attract, who we were going to attract.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
I
I
was
was really
really
nervous.
pleasantly
It was-
surprised about that.
It's like driving to Mama Tried Saturday morning when you're not sure if anybody's going to show up.
Yeah.
You always have that little butterfly or whatever in your stomach, and
Like anyone
it was like that the whole time.
Yeah.
Especially for the bike show on whatever day it was, Wednesday. Like,
Yeah.
I had no idea what that was going to turn into.
Right.
Look, I have a rapid fire list of the events that we've done. I just want to know your perspective on them. Quickly, Warren, what do you think of Full Throttle? What was it like staying there? What would you recommend about it?
It's a lot. You gotta be able to relax and pace yourself. It's a marathon, not a race.
It's kind of like that scene in Mad Max, like when they're camping out outside of that refinery that they're trying to get into.
Okay, it's kind of like the guy with the boomerang gets his hand cut off. Okay, kind of like that.
It's like being out there, yeah. It could have been the stage and the bar is
Yeah.
the
There's like that gay
refinery,
couple.
except they let you in, yeah.
It's a cool place to be associated
Yeah.
with, and it's
Yeah.
only going to get better and better.
What did you think of the hair scramble? Tell me what you saw. And,
I'll tell you what,
That was
hair
cool.
scrambles were bullshit to start with because your son pissed me off, but ultimately they were fantastic. We finally got Beer Can Alley, and I was very proud of that. And I think a lot of people really that was like the kickoff to what we were doing, and I think it was a great start.
I'm pleasantly surprised that my son was such a powerful influence on you, positively or negatively. What do you think of the mini bike races? We did one during the Slaughter concert. We did one.
Which is funny.
We
We did one during the Slaughter concert.
The
but anyway.
boonie bikes are like the filler for us. It keeps the stoke, it keeps people interested, it keeps people coming to support us. It's like a fly to light scenario. We can use that as a tool to move people around and get them excited and get them informed as to what we're doing. It's like the teaser to pull people in.
Well, it's a teaser because I think it's so accessible. Like I can do that. I want to try that. I don't know if you know this. We pulled people out of the crowd and put them on boonie bikes
Yeah, I did
for the
that.
hare scramble,
I was the one that did that.
and for the race maybe.
I know it did for the hair scramble. I had to run and get helmets and bikes, and yeah, that was awesome.
Were you at the Sasha's race?
No,
You
I
guys
didn't make
Sasha's?
Sasha's. I stayed back and worked the merch booth.
What about the Mama Tried party?
Well,
At the pool party.
Pool party was fantastic.
Why was it fantastic?
The people that showed up to support us were exactly the people that I wanted there. We took over the pool and made it our own. And then any other given day, without those folks there, the pool was just a pool with some rock music playing. And I think we had a lot of fun and turned some heads. And
Hell yeah. Cool bike showed up.
Yeah.
A lot of fun.
I
Belly
dropped my
flop
bike
contest.
right on the pool patio.
They weren't happy about that.
No.
Shit happens.
What about the ride-in? How was that? The ride-in show?
Right, it was awesome.
Oh, it was great.
I was nervous, really, really nervous about that one because you just don't know. But we had a great group of bikes that showed up. Good, diverse group of bikes and people. And we got 10 good bikes that we have coming to the show in February.
We were gonna pick one and we picked 10, right?
Yeah, got a little. Yeah,
Because there was a lot of cool shit there.
Yeah.
I mean, just those three diggers those three diggers that came from the Survivor diggers that came from Minnesota.
What's a digger? What does that mean?
long and low.
Long and
deep.
low, yeah.
It's a kind of a style of bikes from the 70s.
Got it.
But these guys found these three Survivors and got them running again, and then rode them out there and
What
brought
about
them to
the-
the show.
Old gophers. Is that what's out there?
Go first.
Paradox?
Forget it. I don't know enough about that community to try to make a parallel. I'm sorry. Okay, one more.
The hamsters.
That's what I
I
meant to
got
say.
Yeah,
You know it. See, this is what's great about you, Warren. As ridiculous as the shit that I say, somehow you always make sense of it.
The proc filter.
I have no
Yeah,
idea
you
what
have
you guys
a-
are
you have a
talking
proc.
about, but I love
It's an
it.
app.
It's like the dog that wears the collar that makes his bark turn into an
Yes,
actual
where it's like Jetson's dog. Do you remember that? Jetson's dog could talk.
Really?
Yeah, because he put in his collar. Take me outside. That's what I have. Warren has one of those for me. He's the only person in my life, maybe besides my wife, that knows what I'm talking about. When I'm like, hand me the macaroni and cheese, he comes back with baked beans. And I'm like, this is exactly what I asked for. Warren, what about the races? The hooligan or the World Series Championship final?
Man, I thought the races were great. There was a lot of people there. The riders were stoked. The racing was fantastic. And the hooligan class really, really paid off there. And the boonie bike class through the middle there on the TT was wild. And the choppers on
The spectator races, Danger Dans.
the wheelie bike guys,
Yeah.
and the burnouts. That was great.
Yeah.
Tell me your perspective from the crowd. I have those cans on, and I get a little disconnected from the energy. What was the energy?
I mean, the energy was like your everyday, flat track race, right? Like people are there motorcycle wise or on a motorcycle vacation to watch motorcycles race. So, and we gave them that. I think the racing was great, and beer was cheap and cold, and
People had a good time. I went and hung out in the stands for a while, and people were really digging it. They're really enjoying it. They,
All right.
they were talking about how they haven't seen like a really, really good flat track show in quite a few years. So
Should we stop with you?
yeah, I gotta go.
I just wanted to do some rapid fire.
Yeah.
okay.
Is there anything you want to go back over? You want me to do that same thing with you, Scott? And that could edit it? What do you think, Brian? What should we do?
Yeah.
Thanks, Warren. I got to get my mindset back. Because now that there's not a time constraint, I guess I'd really want to mention, to take a second to savor it, just, 10, 15 minutes. I remember driving out there with you, and I did say it was a little bit kind of nondescript, but I do remember we, much like my son doesn't like, we're going to stop and camp, I don't know, somewhere. That's kind of difficult for me. But do you remember us camping late night
Yeah, that was great. In Mitchell?
in Mitchell? And there was a bit of stoke the next day. We were just bros in a van.
Yep. That was fun.
And then, go ahead. What were you gonna
Got
say?
some beers and pitched our tents in the campground, and it was quiet. A little bit of freeway noise in the background that
Yeah.
night in Mitchell, and it was great.
It was a special night.
Yeah.
Right,
And then we went to Wall Drug, right?
After we drove through the Badlands.
Yeah. It was great.
Or no, we went to Wall Drug first and then drove to the Badlands. I don't remember. Those details are irrelevant.
Yeah.
Then I remember getting to Sturgis, and I think we wanted to do things, but we had to build the camp. I don't think what people fully understood, or maybe it didn't come through in our videos, but we built a camp inside of a camp.
Mm-hmm.
So we took over a cul-de-sac of cabins and had maybe another 30 people camping outside of those cabins.
Mm-hmm.
And we have paid people. We had promised them food, and we had to get this kitchen up and running.
Yeah, we built a kitchen, had a trailer pull in, and we sort of made a kitchen and like a little hangout area, little bulletin board area, coffee area.
Yeah, because I think we recognized early on that we can't party, although we tried.
We try. Lots of
can't-
people tried.
You can't party the whole time. So that's why I felt like I can't go across town. I can't ride a motorcycle. I need to get back and set this camp up. People are relying on me as kind of a boss.
Yeah.
And they often were.
Yeah.
Asking for the duct tape or the
Yeah.
or the zip ties or what's happening next. So I never really felt like I could leave at the beginning.
Yeah. Or let your hair down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, but I don't want to be negative because it was very positive.
No, not negative at all. It just, we went to Sturgis knowing that we had a lot. We overbooked ourselves as far as doing events, right? We did how many races?
We did 5 or 6 mini bike races. 2 days of the flat track race.
Racing,
We had 2
hair scrambles.
parties scheduled, 2 pool parties, the party at Sasha's. You had the ride-in show, and we had
and
the
the
hair
pool,
scramble.
and the hair scramble. So it was a lot. There was a lot going on every day.
And that was within 5 days.
Mm-hmm.
So it was at least 2 events a day.
Yeah. So it's a lot. It would be a lot if we had done 2 things, but we did a lot, and a lot of them were multiple day. So
Right. And I think on paper when we wrote this down, I'm envisioning how people see us as like a real business.
yeah,
They see, like I'm always amazed by the president of the United States can fly to Des Moines, and then at noon he's in Miami, and then he's having dinner in Phoenix. and he looks well taken care of.
yeah,
But we do that same thing, but we are driving the trucks. We are setting up the merge.
yeah,
And you get done with an event and you want to have a beer and be like, whew. I remember we had open practice. We had those days of open practice. Anyway, open practice is done, and you don't think it's going to be that big of a deal, but there's signs. There's people that need to be taught. There's people that need to be, helped. And then boom, there's a pool party, which means we have to have floaties and a sound system. And the motorcycles have to be lined up.
and tagged and marked and
Mm-hmm.
registered. Not registered, but so we keep track of who's there, and so we have their information because a lot of those people we didn't know before the show, and we want to stay friends with them and contact them and invite them to the Milwaukee show and all that kind of stuff. So there's just a lot of details.
Yeah, and I think that highlights the dichotomy of what we're doing. We're doing this for people, not for the motorcycles.
Yeah.
And then when we have our people there, they become cattle. And you got to check people in, but you can only have 30 seconds with each.
Yeah.
Or you can't get organized. And then it becomes, I don't know, a little bit unsatisfying sometimes when we do these events this back to back to back.
Yeah.
So I think we're in agreement. We can't run this
No, and we've decided that we can't do it at that
at that pace.
at that pace anymore. Pack that much stuff into an event. So it's good though. We learned. I mean, that's how it is. We kind of overshoot. We signed up for like what we thought we could do.
That's how we roll.
And that's how we do it. And then you think like, well, okay, we pulled it all off, but we could have done better at these and these and these things. And if we just focus on these few things next time, we could do them really well. Mm-hmm. And they had traction, so that worked out really well.
I asked this earlier of Warren and Doug. What were your favorite memory, Scott? If you could pull it out of Sturgis.
I really, as hot as it was and as like tiring as it was, I really enjoyed setting up the hair scrambles course. Like driving around with the truck and all the tools and all the stakes and, pulling debris out of the field and setting up, just random course markers, pulling barbed wire out of the way and using this truck bumper
Dude,
and
that sounds
attaching it.
miserable. Why was that good?
It just was fun, like all the Brazilian guys came and hung out, and we were all like out there all day telling stories and, drinking liquid death all day. We had, I think we went through, I honestly think we went through 6 12 packs so 3 cases of liquid death.
Yeah.
And we were only out there for like 3 or 4 hours.
Because you're squirting
the
sweat.
sun is just like baking, and the wind's blowing, and we had a great time. And I think the course was great. That was a really good time. I also really enjoyed going to we went to Rapid City to the AFT races, and I really enjoyed that. That was a good time.
And why?
Well, I went with the Brazilians again. They'd never been to an AFT race, they're big fans. They're big flat track fans, and they follow it from Brazil, and they, they'll watch it online, but they'd never been to an actual race, and they were just like, the energy of driving them in the van to that race, and they were just like, they were vibrating. They were so stoked, and it's like, and I remember what that's like, when you pull up to a race. It started when I was a kid going to races. But you get so excited, and they were so fucking pumped, and bought the tickets, and bought buckets of beer, and bought the T-shirts, and the program, and get the hot dogs, and just like the whole 9 yards of just like get to walk through the pits.
I saw them the next day. They had all new shirts. And
like all the gear on. It was great, and so that was really, really exciting. I also, one of my favorite memories was going riding with a bunch of the people on the team. We all went riding one day. And that was really, really fun.
Was that when we took a ride? We got lost. We ended up in Wyoming.
Yeah, we ended up in Wyoming. Exactly.
All of our motorcycles have GPSs except for yours.
Yeah, and I was leading. But
and everybody's like, all right,
where are they going? Yeah. And then I was like, where'd everybody go? But we had a great day. That was really awesome to just get out there and just put in some miles, and that's what Sturgis is about, and getting to feel it instead of just being on the event promotion side.
And then you pull over at a wayside or one of those bars, and it's almost like you're in the Tour de France. I mean, I know that's a stretch, but it's almost like, all right, buddy, come on in, get some water, get refreshed, get back out there, little buddy.
Yeah, exactly. There's somebody there in the parking lot
being
like,
supported. You have a job to do, which is ride miles.
Yep.
My greatest memory, I gotta say, would be the Hooligan Hair Scramble when I had finally taken off my headphones for the main event, and I heard the volume of all those Harleys in the bowl, which is something you take for granted when you're not wearing the headphones. Maybe you probably get dull to it by then. But for the first time to hear live action was the start of that main. And then to see that race, and then to see my son get fourth in that crappy Hooligan he borrowed. And see him standing on the peg punching his chest.
Yeah, that was great.
Was my
at the Jack Pine.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah, that was awesome.
My greatest memory.
I got to say also, one of the other things that was great, and these memories are all coming flashing in. I remember like one of the first or second days we were there, and we were just trying to get the lay of the land, and we were trying to figure out where we were going to set up the Hair Scrambles course, and we were going to have the test and tune day, and all those support guys who work at Full Throttle, they're all dirt bikers, and so they were just like, hey, what's up, how's it going, like, what do you guys do, anything you need, just let us know. Like, we built this track, and then we built this other track, and you got to go try them out, and it's fucking cool. We're gonna ride with you if you can. We got way more work to do than we know what to do. I mean, it was like they're trying to get set up for like this 10-day long festival, and they're still building bathrooms and putting up signs and stuff. But then
I see them in line at the Hair Scramble.
Yeah, exactly. Like getting signed up to like with their Tenerays and stuff to go racing. So that was fucking cool.
Did you meet Chicken?
No, I don't know if I met him.
The Chicken built those tracks.
Oh, really?
Tennessee, thick guy, early to mid 60s. And I finally can speak Tennessee now. I can't speak it, but I understand it when it's spoken to me. The Chicken's a hoot.
That's good. And that track that they built, that cushion track that they built, the non-banked one, the new one, the gray one. Mm-hmm. Wow, what a hoot!
I just think where's the machine? What's the machine that takes the bumps out?
Grader.
Okay. Yeah. The bigger bumps. Like,
I don't know.
Maybe it is just a grader. I thought you like
with the blade that hangs underneath?
That's a grader. I know that from the Kid in the Sandbox. But I think there's like something that like spins and like cuts it.
I don't know.
well, I don't know my dirt either. I don't know. I don't know custom motorcycles, and I certainly don't know
Your dirt
large
equipment.
machinery. All right. Well, here I just want to mention something just a little bit serious, but I think I'm careful about it, and that is that we had a death in Sturgis, and Ron had passed. And I don't want to say anything more specific about Ron because I don't want to ever come across as being disrespectful. And I think that everything we say should be prepared and thought through. And I don't want to disrespect it. And my laughing of the event doesn't diminish how I'm changed. And I guess that's just where I wanted to pick up a little bit. And that having something like that happen has changed, and
Changed you.
changed me. It changed me. And
Yeah,
I feel
think it changed all of us.
for sure. And I just want to articulate how I feel it changed me. And again, I don't mean to make light of it. I only can use euphemisms that can maybe people can identify with. And it's kind of like when you hear your parents and they're listening to ZZ Top. And I remember at the time I was listening to Motley Crue. And I was like, ZZ Top sucks, Motley Crue. And then you get older and you're like, oh man, I really like ZZ Top, and Motley Crue's trash. And that's how I feel when it would be old timers at the track. You need to do this for safety reasons, and you need to, this is how we've done things, and you need to be safe and do things this way. And as a younger me, I'm like, what does this guy know? We're the new generation of flat track. We don't need to do these things. And then you have something happen terrible, and you realize, oh man, I have a responsibility to keep people safe. And I think that's ultimately what's changed.
Right.
Is I'm holding people,
holding people and holding ourselves to the rules.
Yeah, and certainly of safety.
Yep.
And being much more safety conscious of how we do things.
Yeah.
And that's how I'm changing. I don't want to make light or gloss over what happened in Sturgis.
No, not at all. Ron was a great guy, but he was a motorcycle racer. He was a motorcycle promoter.
Yeah. These are people that you hold and that you
hold dear.
Yeah,
you're there to protect them and you're not you want to make they're there to have a good time, and that's what we're there to do, is to prepare an event where they can enjoy themselves and have a good time.
Yes.
And get home safely at the end of the night, and that's what and so yeah, of course you feel a little bit responsible for it.
And so I'm changed. I just have a new vision, a new mature vision, for lack of a better word. That's why I was using the idea of a ZZ Top, if you will. That I'm turning into my parents, so to speak, of a safer me.
Yeah.
The racetrack is a sacred place.
It is.
And I hope that no one ever sees what we do as to be disrespecting that.
Yeah.
Because I want to end on, I guess, somewhat of a philosophical note, and I just want to go further articulate what we've always stood for when it comes to racing. So I'm only speaking for Flat Out Friday here, and that is I've never wanted to change what happens on the track. I don't have a lot of motorcycle racing experience, but I did race stock cars, and what I'm saying that what you and I would unite in is whether you're making a pass for 12th or you're winning. Some other highlights for me are when you're riding neck and neck with someone and you see an accident ahead of you and you don't lift, and you come through this harrowing situation. My point is, those ideas that happen on the track, I never want to change or touch, and they are perfect in their creation. I just believe that by curating the pit community and how we get along and talk as a community off the track only highlights our on-track experience.
Exactly.
I don't know if I've ever said that before, but I guess that's kind of just something that came to the front.
Yeah, it's a good way of articulating
of our little joke. Things that we do are not meant to diminish the dangers of what we're really doing. No.
Well, I mean, think any promoter has, like, of any event. Doesn't matter if you're going to have a backyard party or you're putting on a motorcycle race. There's the fun access and there's a safety access, right? Like, and so you want to go somewhere. You want to go somewhere up in here. So
you're talking about an X, like an XY.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, this is deep.
Yeah, so it's like, do you go way more? Do you push way more fun and the safety goes way down, or do you push it way more safety and the fun goes down? I don't know if those are the XY, but
sure, I know what you're saying. But you want maximum fun or maximum danger with maximum fun.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
Because maximum danger is maximum reward of fun, so to speak. But there's a tipping point.
Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly.
There's a breaking point, if you will. Yep. Okay. Well, I don't mean to be didactic
or digress.
You have a lot of fun words I like to learn. We could do a Scott word of the day.
All right.
Okay, putting a bow on it. We are here in our new studio. It's pretty fantastic. Also known as the. You ever see Toxic Avenger?
No.
We should watch that after this, just for a little inspiration. This toxic room.
It's our new podcast studio at Junior Cycle Products and Fabrication.
We are committed, bold statement, to be more committed to doing this. Are you committed to be more committed? That's not the word. What do I want to say? We're committed to doing this more often.
Yeah, we're committed to do it more often and regularly. Thanks to Brian's help.
Thank you, sir.
Catch you next time.
We have a race in Cedar Lake this weekend, September 24th. Practice on the 23rd. We would really like to see you come support the event itself. Just show the world. Bold statement: the world. The Brazilians are watching. The Indonesians are watching American Flat Track. To show them that Wisconsin can fill the stands.
Is a flat track state, and we support racing and flat track racing, and we support the AFT.
There's only one reason why this would come back, and that is if they sell tickets.
Right.
If it's below their threshold, screw it. They have many other tracks around the United States they can go to. So please come on out this Saturday, the 24th.
Let's get this a new tradition. Make it a new tradition.
Hooligans, we are an AMA class, separate from the rest. We're going to get weird on Saturday night. There's two main events, which for the price of one, $25 tickets in advance. We're going to have merch there. We're going to be supporting Cameron Smith with some merch. And that's it for this weekend. We summarized Sturgis, Scott, Warren, and myself, our highlights, and kind of a ragtag. We didn't do it linear, but I don't think it needs to be done linear.
No.
We did a lot of events. Hopefully you were following them or people saw them online. We're trying to give just a little backstory of how they happened and where they happened.
Yeah.
All right.
So thanks, everyone. We'll talk to you soon.